Howdy folks, and welcome back to, you guessed it, World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. So, how about those new arpeggio of blue steel ships, the Miyoko and the Congo? Has anybody been grinding out the missions for them? They're not bad ships, of course. I mean, there's nothing special about them. They're just a Miyoko and a Congo, but, you know, that's like saying it's just a Challenger in armoured warfare. They're good ships. I didn't really feel the urge to do a dedicated video on these things, mostly because, well, call me a purist, but they really do make my eyes bleed when I look at them. I mean, the addition of the new port that goes with them was nice and all that, but I don't know, I like my warships to look like warships, not like East German nightclubs. So, yeah, I don't think so. So, even though I had access to them, I didn't really bother doing a video on them. But I definitely played a few games and had some great times in these ships. Because, well, at the end of the day, it's a Congo and a Miyoko. And the Congo in particular is a fantastic Tier 5 battleship. Those of you who remember the video I did on the Congo will remember that it was actually built in Britain, based on a Japanese version of the Lion-class battlecruiser, and then upgraded between the First and Second World Wars in Japan until it was a proper battleship rather than a battlecruiser. What's up with Britain, eh? Arming the world since the 19th century. First we're building battleships and battlecruisers for the Japanese, and then we're supplying Bayern Flugzeugwerke, whatever the hell they call it, with Rolls-Royce Kestrel engines so they can flight test their Bf-109, and then we're selling secret jet engine technology to the Russians so they can put them into their MiG-15s. What's wrong with you, Britain? Anyway, back to the Congo. Today's video is mostly going to be some battleship action. Well, in fact, it's all going to be some battleship action. First, me having a couple of rather amusing moments in the ARP Congo, the arpeggio of blue steel version here, sailing around looking like an East German nightclub. And then I've got a Yamato replay for you. And I think this is going to be the very first Yamato replay I've actually shown on this channel. It's not difficult to see why people like playing battleships in World of Warships. You can do some spectacular damage with these big main battery guns. The Congo has 8 14-inch guns, and they are pretty good. The shot dispersion, however, is not great. Sometimes it's a bit of a lottery where your shots are actually going to land. And this is true to one degree or another in, well, all the ships in World of Warships, but battleships in particular, because they have such powerful guns. And they can do so much damage if they score direct hits. And it can be a little frustrating, particularly when you've perfectly aimed the shot and you see the shells go flying in and it looks good, and then not one of them hits, and you see spouts of water splashing up all around the target in front and behind, which is basically the game's way of saying, well, it was a perfectly aimed shot, but no, not this time. Try again, wait 30 seconds and take another roll of the dispersion dice. When those shots hit, however, the results can be catastrophic, particularly if people insist on sailing broadside on to a battleship's main battery guns. Enemy Miyogi over there. Tier 4 battleship, fully upgraded as you can tell by the pagoda-style conning tower at the front. And he's actually managed to score a couple of hits on me, but as you can see by my attitude indicator down there in the compass in the bottom left, I've got the ship angled, so he hasn't done a lot of damage. I don't even need to use my damage repair consumable. Let's just pop some shots out and see what happens. That's why people drive battleships. Sailing broadside onto a Congo's 14-inch guns. That's a paddling. Can we do it again? To St. Louis. I'm sorry. I've seen this multiple times and it's just as funny as the first time. So, St. Louis. He's only a Tier 3 cruiser, but they're pretty tough little buggers. Guns are almost loaded, almost on track. He's popped back into sight. Sailing broadside on to a Congo's 14-inch guns. That's a paddling. Any second now. Yep, looks pretty good. Yeah, that'll do. Oh yeah, that's why people sail battleships in World of Warships. I'd forgotten. Now, before you all start getting too excited and grind your way up the Japanese battleship line, because oh my god, I just saw Jingles do a citadel penetration on a Miyogi and it did 48,000 damage. That wasn't a Citadel. Well, it was a Citadel penetration, but it detonated the magazine of the ship. You still do a lot of damage with a Citadel penetration with these battleship guns, but you're not going to do 48,000 damage in one shot and just completely wreck a ship unless you detonate the magazine. Citadel penetrations are nice though. Oh look, enemy Congo, and I've got the broadside of his ship to shoot at, so there's one Citadel penetration, there's two Citadel penetrations, that's half his health gone in 2 hits. And he is of course under fire from 2 Japanese cruisers, and there are destroyers out there as well, so lots and lots and lots of torpedoes in the water. You don't actually need to see the torpedoes in the water to know that there are going to be torpedoes there, but apparently, well, some of us do. So he didn't last very long at all, and now his little friend in the Miyoko, and the Miyoko's a very, very nice ship, but he's sailing broadside onto a battleship. Let's see how well that's going to work out for him. 39,000 health, there's 1 Citadel, there's 2 Citadels, he doesn't have 39,000 health anymore, does he? He is at least able to avoid the torpedoes, hurrah! He swings the ship around, clearly thinking to himself, screw this, it's not funny anymore, I'm getting the hell out of here. It's just too little too late, however, because by the time he turns that ship around, my guns are going to be loaded. And if we just wait, broadside of the ship again, not that he really had any choice in the matter this time, and there's another Citadel penetration. Left him on 175 health, and then the massed volley fire from the cruisers finished him off. Now, we didn't know it at the time, but there is actually a sneaky little enemy destroyer around here. But we're about to spot his torpedoes in the water, and there they are. We were turning in this direction anyway, so he should have waited until we'd finished turning and then launched his torpedoes at us in a nice tight spread. Would have given us far less time to avoid, and now he's been spotted, and there's his second spread of torpedoes. But we saw the first spread, so it's relatively easy to avoid these. Now obviously I have armor piercing loaded, which isn't ideal for shooting at destroyers. It's just going to completely overpenetrate even if I hit, and I did hit. But I've now queued the high explosive. And we're never going to catch this little bugger, but we're heading in this direction anyway. I hold down control and click on him to focus the attention of my secondary gun batteries on him. It's a bit optimistic. He's going to be out of here long before I get within secondary gun battery range. But now I've got the high explosive loaded, and now I know for sure that there's an enemy destroyer in front of me. This would have been significantly trickier if I needed to turn to port or starboard here, but I didn't because this is the direction I'm heading anyway. So this is not going to be easy for that Minakaze. He's got a battleship and a cruiser steaming straight towards him, presenting the narrowest possible cross-section for which to hit with a torpedo. So it's not going to be easy for him. And he does make the best job possible of it. The trick, of course, is to try to launch your torpedoes with a very, very tight spread. Here they come. And stagger the launch so you blanket the area with the torpedoes. And it's not a bad effort, but it's still going to be easy. Providing you don't oversteer. It's very easy to jam the rudder over too hard to one side. And all you succeed in doing is swinging the big fat arse of your battleship out and you clip the last torpedo with the stern of the ship. So careful not to oversteer. And they're relatively easy to avoid. Of course, the enemy carrier is going to be getting a bit nervous because, well, there's a battleship and, oh, actually 2 cruisers steaming around the side of this island, heading in his general direction. So he sends his dive bombers, and I think his torpedo bombers as well, I'm not entirely sure, we'll find out in a moment, to try to stave off the inevitable. But that little destroyer isn't finished with us yet. There's some more torpedoes in the water spotted by our own carrier-borne aircraft, and they have spotted the enemy destroyer. Well, now I've got high explosive loaded. And shots out, and then check the position of the torpedoes. He's disappeared again, but one of the shots hit and incapacitated, hopefully, knocked his engine out. And a nice casual turn, thread the needle between the spread of torpedoes, and no damage taken. Destroyers popped smoke, and dive bombers incoming. Not too worried about the dive bombers though, not just because the Congo has a pretty decent anti-aircraft armament, also, did I mention I'm sailing with a cruiser? So he pops his defensive fire cooldown, not one of the bombs hits. No idea where this destroyer is, fire blind into the smoke screen, sink him anyway, seems legit. Got the little bugger. Totally fair. Pure skill, no luck. So, battleships are great. Sleek grey missionaries of death, praying for war. And they're great right up until the point when the guns stop behaving themselves. That's a Fuso, the Japanese Tier 6 battleship, and I should have had him in this match, even though he's a much, much better ship than I am. But his shots just kept hitting me and doing damage, and despite the fact that I'm angling the ship, and he's not, my return fire just wouldn't go where I was aiming it. I'm aiming at the waterline here, and I actually hit his rear mast. It was the story of my life in this game. But you can't put a video up on YouTube showing multiple Citadel hits and blind firing and sinking a destroyer in a smokescreen and getting 2 lucky detonation one-shots in a row without showing the other side of the coin. This Fuso is swinging it around again so he can point all of his guns at me, and I've got the broadside of the ship to shoot at and nothing. Just, nope. None of the shots went where I aimed them. At this kind of range as well, and I'm giving him nothing to shoot at, but he's still scoring hits. Now he's fired, he's swinging it around again, and now he's given me, finally, he's given me nothing to shoot at, but I've done almost no damage to him. I can still kill him, though. Who knows what's coming? I may as well. I've got less than 20,000 health. He's got nearly 50,000 health. I'm never going to win this fight, not with the way my guns are behaving. Ramming speed. Oh look, he's used his repair consumable. He's trying to... it's not going to save you, sunshine. I'll trade my 19,000 health for your 49,000 health any day of the week. So, the Congo, it's great. And even when it isn't great, and thanks to the built-in RNG with the dispersion of the guns, about half the time it isn't great, but even then it makes a very, very good battering ram. So, from the Congo to the mighty Yamato, this is Tell, and I'm sure I've definitely featured one of his replays before. The name seems very, very familiar. He's driving the Yamato this time, so obviously it's a tier 10 match, and look at all of those destroyers. The enemy team have a Shimakaze. Well, to be fair, his team have a Shimakaze as well. That thing is... well, let's just say it's very scary if you're sailing a battleship. Speaking of battleships, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. You can say what you like about the Japanese, but they knew how to build a good-looking ship. 9 18-inch guns, the biggest guns ever installed on a battleship. 6 in the front, 3 in the back, 3 turrets. Its secondaries as well. Its secondaries have got more firepower than most cruisers. I mean, it's multiple 6-inch guns, and its anti-aircraft armament. Oof. It actually had a bit of a flaw with its anti-aircraft armament. I'm struggling to remember the different calibers, but it had... oh, that was it. 5-inch guns. It had a load of 5-inch anti-aircraft guns, and estimates vary because they were constantly adding anti-aircraft firepower to the ship throughout its admittedly short life. But something like 164 25mm anti-aircraft guns. The problem was the fire zones of these 2 different calibers of anti-aircraft guns didn't overlap, so there was a point inside which an aircraft was immune to fire from the 5-inch guns, but was not yet in range of the anti-aircraft fire from the 25mm guns. So that was a bit of a oops. And ironically, the Yamato would be sunk by aircraft, although not because of any gap in her anti-aircraft defences, no, because she'd been sent on an unwinnable suicide mission. It's called Operation 10 Go. The Yamato, in company with 1 cruiser and 7 destroyers, not a large force, because Japan didn't have anything else left, was sent to interrupt the American landings on Okinawa. She was actually given orders that, after dealing with an American task force there, to beach herself and then act as an unsinkable gun emplacement, but she never got that far. She was detected by submarines, shadowed by maritime patrol aircraft, and Admiral Spruance directed 6 battleships, 7 cruisers and 21 destroyers to go and intercept this doomed ship. But it wasn't the surface ships that did it, because Admiral Mark Mitcher said, "Relax, my carriers have got this." Mark Mitcher was in command of a task force which contained, I forget the exact numbers, it was anything between 7 or 9 aircraft carriers with hundreds of aircraft at his disposal, and it was these aircraft that did in fact sink the Yamato. Her armour was absolutely stupendous though. It took multiple torpedo and bomb strikes to put this thing down. Her waterline belt armour was over 400mm thick. Her deck armour was 200mm thick. Good luck scoring citadel hits from plunging fire against this thing. Its gun turrets had 650mm of armour on the face of each gun turret. It was like going to sea in Fort Knox. Oh, hello. Shots out. That's one of those new Soviet cruisers, the Tier 8, the Mikhail Kutuzov. And that looks pretty good. Oh, geez, that's no citadel penetrations, by the way, and he just lost a third of his health. That's the Yamato for you. But don't worry, I mean, he's only a Tier 8 and he's only a cruiser. You'd expect to do lots of damage from direct hits from 18-inch guns to a cruiser. In fact, I'm quite surprised he didn't over-penetrate, or possibly he did. I'm not quite sure what the bottom range of damage is for these 18-inch guns. Those were over-penetrations, definitely. 2 hits and only did 2,000 odd damage? Yeah. So yes, you do over-penetrate if you shoot very thinly armoured cruisers with the Yamato's monster 18-inch guns. And here comes another one. And oh look, torpedoes. Lots and lots of them. Surely he's not gonna... No, he's seen them, he's turning in, the guy at the front. It's not gonna save him though, he's only postponing the inevitable. And the guy at the back has also seen the torpedoes and oh, check it out, here it comes, look at this. Look at that. That's not the Shimakaze. If that was the Shimakaze, there'd be a lot more torpedoes in the water. That's probably going to be the Fubuki or the Kagero, or possibly both of them. But yeah, no problem, he's avoided those torpedoes. And, well, one of the Kutuzovs is down, and check out the other one. Watch this. Okay, this guy is not only burning and under fire from multiple different ships from multiple different directions. Watch as he turns in. He runs into the wreck of the other Kutuzov. So not only is he burning and under fire from multiple ships, including a Yamato, from multiple different directions, he's also stationary in the water. And look at the secondary batteries opening up. All that fire going in, that's the secondary gun batteries from the Yamato. All of it's just bristling with things that go boom. I'm not entirely sure what the range is of those secondaries, and it varies obviously because you can improve the range of the guns with various different equipment fits and commander skills, but we can later on we're going to see these things start engaging a target from a distance of at least 9 kilometers. Just think about that for a minute. That's the secondaries can hit you from 9 kilometers away and possibly from further, depending on what equipment fits you've equipped your ship with. But Tennel hasn't scored any citadels yet. Oh look, there's an Amagi, the Japanese Tier 8, sailing broadside onto a Yamato. Look at that. Nearly 46,000 damage. Suddenly that guy doesn't have 63,000 health anymore. And he's pretty much just decided, right, that's it, I don't want to play anymore. he's doing an Eric Cartman. Screw you guys, I'm going ham. he's turning around and he's taking Billy Big steps in the other direction. That's just... You almost feel sorry for him, don't you? Oh, now check this out. Look at that. Enemy Kagero, 8.6 kilometers. Immediately his secondary batteries start opening up on this guy. Look at this. And he's pretty much ignoring the Kagero with it. Or is he? He's actually going to shoot at the Kagero with his 18-inch guns with armor piercing loaded. Is he really? He is as well. He's going to do it. This is just... Well, it's not really overkill, is it? Because you're guaranteed to over-penetrate. But the Kagero is a threat. He's taken fire from New Orleans now, and he's actually hit the Kagero with his 18-inch guns. Wow. Friendly Kagero in trouble. Getting out of there. And he's sunk the Kagero with the firepower from his secondary batteries. New Orleans opening up with high explosives, and there's the Shimakaze. The Kagero managed to get his torpedoes away, but he's easily able to avoid them. And watch, his secondaries are about to open up and start taking the Shimakaze under fire. There they go. He's seen the Shimakaze, and he's turning away from him. Now, he's not worried about the New Orleans. And he's not even going to use his damage control ability to put the fires out, because the second he uses it, the New Orleans is just going to hit him again and set him on fire again. Also, he's going to keep it in reserve as he takes shots at this Izumo, because he may take a torpedo hit from that Shimakaze, and he's going to want that ability to control the flooding. So he's quite happy to just burn for now and use his damage repair ability as this enemy Yamato runs straight into one of the torpedoes from the friendly Kagero. Here comes some more fire from the New Orleans. It's annoying, but there's nothing he can really do about it at the moment. It's not going to do a huge amount of damage to him. Instead, he's going to start shooting at the enemy Yamato. Watch this. You'll note, look at the attitude of the two different battleships as he just ignores this fire from the New Orleans. He's going to deal with him later. One of them is sailing more or less broadside on to the other one. One of them isn't. Now, of course, this means he can only fire his front two turrets at the enemy Yamato. But that's still 6 18-inch guns. Okay, that was kind of disappointing, only 2 hits, but the damage that he's taken in return is nothing. And look, he's already extinguished the fire, and he's recovered most of his health. And now this guy is straightening the ship out. You can see that rear turret starts swinging around. He wants to get all of his guns firing at Tennel, doesn't he? It's not worth showing the side of your ship to these 18-inch guns just to be able to fire 3 more shots. Look at that. It's really not worth it, Sunshine. It hasn't worked out too well for you, has it? I don't care if you are in a Yamato, sailing broadside on to a battleship, that's a paddling. And before too long, there it is, 8.7 kilometers, the secondaries start opening up. But oh look, the main batteries have reloaded. And, well, there's really only one way this is ever going to end, is it? Only knocked one of his guns out as well. Just to add insult to injury. And oh look, the Amagi's still hanging around. He's obviously thought, well, he's fighting the Yamato on my team. It's going to take him a while to sink him. I'll stick around, get some free shots in. And it didn't quite take as long as you expected it to, did it? And check out this Izumo. I mean, look at that. What is he doing? 1, broadside on to a Yamato. 2, I hear that ships generally tend to go faster sailing forwards than they do backwards. It makes you a more difficult target to hit. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. What is he doing? It's not like he's even got the excuse of needing to point all his guns at Tennel's ship. I mean, all 3 of his turrets are in the front of the ship. Look at that. 13,000. That wasn't even a citadel penetration. The guns on this ship are terrifying. And they're going to be reloaded soon as well. Can he get another citadel? I think he's earned another citadel. I think he deserves another citadel. Yes, he's got another citadel. Another 17,000 damage. That New Orleans isn't giving up though, is he? There we go. He's sunk the Izumo. Right, who's next? The Amagi? Or the New Orleans? And what happened to the Shimakaze? It's going to be the Amagi, isn't it? Oh, there's the Shimakaze. Torpedoes incoming. He's probably going to take a torpedo hit here. He's caught him as he's turning around. Oh, there's one. Only one. That's it. Tennel, you lucky bastard. And there's a citadel on the Amagi. Can I have your luck when I'm sailing battleships in this game? And can I have the kind of enemies that you had in this match? Is this guy really sailing? He is. Well, he's kind of turning. I don't think it's going to save him, though. That New Orleans has got to be feeling pretty nervous around about now. Oh, and there's torpedoes in the water. There's another 7,900. I wonder if he can finish this guy off with secondaries. Because that would just be the ultimate humiliation, wouldn't it? Oh no, please tell me those torpedoes are not going to hit him. The secondaries are opening up on the New Orleans. Oh my god, I think... No, he's seen the torpedoes. Well, he's either seen the torpedoes or he's realised that sailing broadside on to a Yamato is not the greatest of ideas in the world, but I really don't think it's going to save him. There's another 6,000 damage. And he's killed him. So, Mr. New Orleans, how brave are you feeling right now? You appear to have a lot of health. Let's see what we can do about that. Come on, get off the rocks. Get off the rocks. He's recovering his health. You broadside on to a Yamato. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And those weren't even citadels. So there's the Confederate award. To go with the high caliber that he's already earned. Can he get an Unleash the Kraken? Somebody else is trying to kill the New Orleans. I think he deserves the kill. Come on, Tennel, you're off the rocks. Oh, but that is either the New Orleans has decided that there's even more trouble coming the other way, or he's feeling very, very brave. Look at that, another 8,000. I'm pretty 6 hits, 8,800 damage. Those are over penetrations. That's what that is. Those shots are going clean through the side of the New Orleans and right out the other side, without striking anything, you know, in the citadel. Guns are almost reloaded. The secondaries have set him on fire. There they go. Yep. Yeah, that'll do it. There's only one enemy ship left, and, well, he's got all kinds of problems of his own. So let's just skip to the post-battle results screen and see exactly what Tennel got out of this match. And you are just not going to believe these numbers. He got nearly 750,000 credits out of this game, and almost 10,000 experience. Some might say, based on these results, that the Yamato is clearly overpowered. To that I say, aha, but there were 2 Yamatos in this match, weren't there? So how overpowered was the other one? There he is, 500 experience. In fact, the top scoring player on the enemy team was in a Tier 8 destroyer, the Benson. Now the Benson's a good ship, but it's an American destroyer. It's a gunboat, it's not a torpedo boat. Although admittedly, I think the Benson's the first American destroyer that gets torpedoes that have a range that's actually in excess of its detection range. But it's still a gunboat, not a torpedo boat. And he beat the Shimakaze on the enemy team. So it's easy to look overpowered when you've got an enemy team like that. And I'm sure Tennel isn't complaining, not with nearly 750,000 credits and 10,000 experience earned. That was one hell of a match. And I hope you guys enjoyed it, because that is it for today. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.